What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Defi the System. We absolutely tore through our price targets of 32 to 34 cents, making it all the way up to about 38 cents, and we have just been on an incredible run. So today, I want to talk about how to know when to sell to make sure that you don't sell too early or to make sure that you don't miss the top entirely. So this came up because someone asked me today what my exit strategy was, and they were questioning how am I going to know when the top is to sell? And I think that's an excellent question and a fair question and a question that is on everyone's mind. Obviously, we don't want to sell too early and miss out on the massive gains. And obviously, we don't want to sell too late and miss out on our maximum profit potential. So how do we know when to sell? Well, this move has just been absolutely parabolic. It has been so strong. Harmony One is growing so much that, I think this thing could just keep going up and up and up all the way to $4 or $5, maybe even $10, right? Wrong. That is the type of mindset that we are all, including me, naturally going to fall into. That will be the greed and the euphoria talking. These types of parabolic moves are usually relatively short-lived. Like this one, let's see, from February to March, it was about a month, from here all the way up to here, just a month. So I think it's important that we manage our emotions and don't get too caught up in the greed and euphoria of wanting to see higher and higher price targets, more and more profit potential. So I want to share with you guys today some of the things that I'm going to be looking out for to try to find some confluence in the charts so I can know that when I sell, I will be selling at a good time. So like I mentioned a second ago, the first thing I want to talk about is Harmony One has been an early mover in this market. Back here when we peaked out in around March, all the other cryptos didn't peak out until over here in April and May, somewhere between here. Pull up, any of your favorite cryptos or any of the popular cryptos, most of them peaked out somewhere throughout these dates right here. Right about here. So I think that the fact that we are breaking out ahead of everyone else is evidence that Harmony One is acting as an early mover again. Most cryptos right now are kind of right here, where they're still trying to break their previous highs, and maybe some of them have broken them and they're trying to build support on top of that previous resistance. Obviously, Harmony One has just been on a tear, and we've blown through this. And this is about a week of price action. I think it's important that we don't get too caught up in the greed and euphoria, which is completely natural. It even happens to me, and that's why I want to make this video today, because I caught myself today getting caught up in the greed and euphoria, imagining, what if we hit $5? Man, that'd be so awesome. And, just being so excited, being so engaged on Twitter. This type of run is not sustainable for too long. This type of euphoria is not sustainable. So over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks, I think it's really important to realize that the more time that progresses, the longer time progresses, and the more we go up, the more we're entering that territory of being duped into falling into greed and not wanting to sell when the charts are showing it's time to sell. So some of the things I'm looking for to know if it's a good time to sell is the Pi Cycle Top Bitcoin indicator. You may have heard of it. It has been extremely successful at identifying the tops of Bitcoin, and it successfully did it this run again. Well, actually, I think this was the first run it's ever actually been predictive. It was built to be able to retroactively identify the tops, and it did succeed at actually predicting this one. And something I saw when this was happening, when the top was happening earlier this year, is everyone was writing it off. Everyone, who knows about this indicator really respected it and considered it something important to watch going into the bull run. And then when it happened, I remember checking, I was curious to see what everyone's thoughts were when it actually crossed for Bitcoin. And everyone was writing it off like, there's no way this is the top, and let's just ignore it. And that's the greed and the euphoria. That's what it will do to you, is it will make you choose to ignore indicators that indicate that your asset is running out of steam and about to see a reversal. And I think part of it was, that they were right, that this wasn't the end and we weren't going to enter a 3-year bear market. So they were right and they were wrong. We didn't enter a 3-year bear market, but we did enter this bear market of about half a year. So, if we see this happen again, we don't know how long the bear market will be. We might see another 6 to 12 month bear market, or it could be the real deal in a 3-year bear market. But I think it's important to not get caught up in the greed and euphoria and ignore signs like these. So, but yeah, I completely forgot to mention that the Bitcoin top Pi cycle top indicator, as you can see, worked for Harmony 1. It accurately called the top, which is awesome for Harmony 1 community members for us to have this tool. You can't give it too much credit because it can flash, like a week or two early. However, that's still valuable information, even if it flashes a week to 2 weeks early, but that's still really valuable information to use to add confluence to your charting. So another thing I'm going to be looking for is the RSI. On the daily time frame, we got to this 90 level for this peak and this peak. So I'm going to be watching closely to see how it interacts with this level. When it gets to this level, it's going to be overbought. That's just a fact. It's going to be a fact that, we're headed towards some downside momentum by this point when we get up here. So, as you can see, we came up here 2 times. We had a peak here and a peak here. So obviously you wouldn't want to be selling here and miss this run. So that's why I think it's good to sell a percentage. So I plan on selling 20% when I think it's the top. That way, if I'm wrong and we have one more massive run, I can sell another 20% or even a larger percentage if I choose. But yeah, so that's basically my plan, is I plan on selling 20% when I think we're at the top. I'm going to be looking for us to come up around this 90 area again. I'm going to look for the Pi cycle top indicator to flash. I'm going to keep an eye on how we're looking a month out because, as I pointed out with this, these runs are not sustainable. This run starting from right here is like just over 6 weeks, I think, like 6 to 7 weeks. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. We could have potentially only 3 to 6 weeks of this left before we see a big correction. So don't get caught up in the greed and euphoria. When we hit $1, if we hit $2, and you see, it's been 4 to 6 weeks since we broke out, and we're seeing weakness on like the RSI, we've seen the Pi cycle top indicator cross, that is going to be a good time to take some profits or follow your plan, your strategy, whatever your plan is. Another thing that you can look for is, when we are in a strong bull run, we should be staying above this 50 level on the RSI on the daily time frame. So as you can see with this run starting back here, actually all the way back here, we broke above the 50 level really strong. So right here. And then we were in the bull run ever since that point. And with this peak showing up right here, and then we came down and we bounced off this 50 level and made a second run towards the 90 level on the RSI. When we came down here again, we broke through it. And this still would have been a good time to sell if you missed this top right here. This isn't too bad of a spot to sell if you got in early. If you were accumulating at good levels, or even if you caught it kind of a little late on the way up, you should still be in some type of profit right here if you're looking for this breakdown below the 50 level. So, we could see, for instance, something like this, where we go up to that 90 level that we talked about, and then have a little bit of downside. But whatever downside we see, we need to bounce off this 50 level. We can maybe go a little bit below it, but we should be seeing signs of strength and recovery, and we should not dip below that 50 level. If we do start to break down here, that's not good, and that should be another indicator that we're heading towards a reversal. And so I think, like, I can't stress it enough, don't get caught up in the greed and euphoria and ignore reversal signs. Another thing I'm going to be looking at for more confluence is the weekly RSI. We have the most touches right here with this peak right here and these two peaks right here. We have the most touches at 82.5 approximately. So I want to be watching very closely to see how we interact with this level. I want to see if we get rejected or if we break through it. That's ideal. Ideally, I'd like to see us break through it and even reach a high that's higher than this one. But I think it's likely that we will set a slightly lower high, somewhere around 82.5 or somewhere below these peaks right here. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But I just think that, I wouldn't be surprised to see the momentum be a little less powerful this time. So I hope I'm wrong, but I would not be surprised to see, this end up playing out kind of like this, something like that maybe. So the prices that I am really looking out for, anywhere between $1 to $2. So a 10 to 20 billion market cap would put us in that range of about $1 to $2. So if we get to about $1 to $2 and we're seeing all these signs come together, the Bitcoin pi cycle top indicator flash, it's been about 4 to 6 weeks and we're seeing weakness on the RSI, maybe a bearish divergence, as well as just other types of fundamentals like people who have never cared about Harmony One talking about Harmony One all of a sudden, the crypto influencers who never talk about it, suddenly talking about it, because it's getting requested and people are asking, hey, what's with this Harmony coin? Should I invest? Should I buy? That's usually a sign that it's a top as well. When everyone starts talking about it, crypto influencers who have never talked about it before, people who have never cared about it before asking if they should invest, that's another sign that could indicate that the top is near. So in the short term, let's take a look at let's zoom in real quick. I saw someone asking about this little correction that we're in right now, and they sounded kind of worried. So I don't think this is anything to be worried about. I think that this is going to play out to be a reversal pattern within the next 24 to 48 hours. So kind of like how we saw right here, this head and shoulders pattern. This is a head and shoulders pattern, which if you guys have seen my videos, you know that we see in the charts a lot. And it's a good sign of a reversal. So whenever we see a low, a lower low, and a higher low, that is often a sign of a reversal. And so we saw that, low, lower low, higher low play out right here, and we got the breakout. And I think that this is looking like it's going to be a similar pattern that plays out in the short term. So I don't think this looks like anything to be concerned about. I think this is just a good buying opportunity, anywhere between 33.335 cents to 35 cents is just a good dip buying opportunity. And that's not to say that we can't potentially wick a little bit lower for a second, but I think that, this is going to end up being the deepest dip on the RSI, which would mean that this is going to be the lowest part of this dip right here. So let's see what happens. Overall, we're still looking so strong and so bullish. I think we still have lots of upside left, But what I want to impress upon you guys is that it can happen in the blink of an eye, and this parabolic move could be over before you know it. So don't get too caught up in the greed and euphoria. If we're still putting in new all-time highs a month from now and we're at $2, you are going to be getting caught up in greed and euphoria if you're not looking at taking some profits. And if you're calling for $5, $10, it's just not sustainable. I know that we will hit $5 eventually, but there will be the need for corrections and consolidation, mini bear markets, macro bear markets. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever, and it doesn't tend to go up for very long either. Like I said, this move right here, under 2 months. And just remember, Harmony One is an early mover, so just because other cryptos are starting to pick up and reach their all-time highs after us doesn't mean we have more upside, because we started moving early last time and we peaked out early last time. So I think it is likely that we will also continue that trend. As we have been an early mover, I think it's likely we will be early to peak. So let's see what happens. I mean, I would love to see $5 this year. I think anything's possible. I know anything's possible. I've seen what Doge has done, Solana, Cardano. I know it's possible. But the thing is, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen fast, and it needs to happen fast. If 6 weeks from now we're nowhere close to $5, I don't think we're going to hit $5. So, take it for what you will. Have your own plans and strategies. Me personally, I don't have like a normal exit strategy, because my exit strategy is to exit the workforce, because I'm really close to being able to retire off my staking rewards. So my only goal is to increase my holdings, but I don't have an exit strategy. I don't plan on selling all of my coins at a certain price target or anything like that. My plan is to accumulate as much as I can, and I plan on doing that by trying to identify the top and selling a percentage and then buying back during the bear market. So do your own research, figure out a plan that works for you. I know I'm not like a good example for what to do technically, because I'm assuming a certain amount of risk by going all in on Harmony One and believing so firmly in it long term, but that's just me. I want a high risk, high reward play. For you, manage your own risk appropriately, do your own research. But man, this is exciting. I'm excited to see where we go. I think in November we're going to see absolutely exponential gains, just a huge explosion for Harmony One. So let's keep each other level-headed. It's important that we don't get too caught up in the greed and euphoria when that happens and start ignoring signals that present themselves that a reversal is coming. So that's all I got for you today, guys. I'm excited to make another video soon. Hopefully it will be above 50 cents by the time I do that, but let's see. I will catch you guys next time.